Down with Greta in a cable interview first, tonight on The Record.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we are honoring the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his dream of racial equality. During the Civil Rights Movement, Dr. King inspired people of all races to speak out against injustice. Thousands followed him, even putting their own lives at risk in some instances. This country has come a long way since the death of Dr. King, but who are the black leaders today? Dr. Marc Lamont Hill is Assistant Professor of Urban Studies at Temple University, and he joins us now. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You know, what do you think about this? There's a story out today that talks about why aren't, the black leaders, the Jesse Jacksons, the Al Sharptons of the world, sort of coming out in vocal support of Barack Obama?
Well, I think it's precisely because of Dr. King's legacy. Dr. King taught us to think not just about race, but also about poverty, about the war, about a host of issues that cut across race, class, gender, and geography. And so for Barack Obama to gain the support of people like Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton or everyday people, he really needs to be very clear about where he stands on issues. Right now, Barack Obama looks good, he sounds good, he's shining, he's shimmering, but we don't have a clear sense of what his politics are. And until he articulates his politics more clearly and takes a stand on critical issues, it's going to be hard to back him.
You know, I was looking back on Jesse Jackson's website, and there was some history there about the 1988 race, and I thought this was really interesting. It talks about a moment when he was at a table with a bunch of Democratic leaders, and many of them were going to back Fritz Mondale in the 88 race. And Jesse Jackson said to them, here's what I have to say to you, basically. Some of us are family, and some of us just live on, which was interpreted to mean that he wanted them to be backing him because he wanted them to put their money where their mouth was in terms of being members of the black community. And now he's saying that he's not sure if he's going to back Barack Obama.
Well, for one, I think even in 1988 when Jesse Jackson ran for president, he had a very progressive agenda. He challenged Reaganomics, in a very serious way. He challenged our foreign policy. He wanted us to develop more normalized relations with Cuba, with Latin America, with Africa. So he already had his sort of his radical and certainly liberal bona fides established, and now he wanted people to side with him as opposed to Fritz Mondale. But it wasn't just a race issue. The politics were more sophisticated than that.
Right.
It's the same issue here.
Let's get our A-list in, Mark, and you can feel free to jump in. I want to introduce everybody. Leslie Sanchez is a Republican strategist. Jane Fleming is the Executive Director of Young Democrats of America. And today's wild card is our own David Asman, who's joining us, Fox News Channel. He's also hosting an upcoming special, Hezbollah in America, which will be premiering this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk more about him with that, and you can see all of that on the internet as well. So, Leslie, let me start with you. What do you think about the black leaders in terms of their support or lack of thereof for Barack Obama?
I think it's really telling. If anything, it's a very smart move to pay attention to this, because 90% of the black vote is monolithic in terms it's going to vote for a Democratic candidate. And these are two candidates, when you're talking about civil rights leaders who ran for president or really have a platform to stand on. They say we represent the African American community. So to take that authority away really undermines their credibility at a presidential race. So Barack Obama doesn't need a connection with African American leaders to build a connection with African American voters. He has a natural kind of a sense of the community.
Yeah, and I don't know, David, politically, whether he wants to be going around the country with Al Sharpton.
Well, exactly. I mean, who designates African American leaders, some more significant than others? What makes Reverend Sharpton or what makes Reverend Jackson more important in terms of black Americans than Harold Ford or Barack Obama? I mean, who are considered too moderate from the perspective of Jesse Jackson or Reverend Al Sharpton? I mean, who's to say that who represents black interests better? I mean, I don't know who the kingmaker is out there.
Well, Jesse Jackson is a pillar in the black community, and I think that's what's interesting about the African American community. Because of the civil rights struggle, you have all these pillars in the community who really do give kind of their opinions, and the African-American community really listens.
Yeah, but he was knocked off that pillar quite a bit over the past couple of years with personal scandals.
But Obama clearly, has a lot of African-American support. I mean, he's on the cover of Ebony magazine this month. He is, the rumor on all the blogs is that he's going to announce on the 17th on Oprah. So, it's interesting to see. And I think the black leaders are not saying that they're not going to support Obama.
All right, let's get a reaction from Mark.
Right, that's the issue.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, it's not that they're not going to support him, but what they want him to do is take a serious stand. If Al Sharpton decides to run again, he will force Obama to talk about issues that are uncomfortable for mainstream America, like police brutality, like police terrorism, like the decline of the welfare state. These are issues that Obama has tiptoed around on many levels because they're not as palatable to mainstream Americans. You all are right that, I mean, absolutely, Obama is going to get the black vote if he gets the nomination. That's not really the issue here. The issue here is how can he sustain that black vote and court the middle-of-the-road Americans who he needs in order to get a nomination and mount a serious
campaign. But isn't one of the questions, there's a divide in the black community over what that message should be in terms of economic empowerment and whether entitlements lead to greater equality for the black community or whether they need to sort of strike a different chord. And isn't that a great controversy right now within the black community? And might that not have something to do with this divide?
Oh, without question. And in many ways, Jesse Jackson represents the old guard, and Obama, in many ways, is more of a Bill Clinton type of Democrat in terms that he's encroaching more toward the center. You know, he's doing things that are more palatable to middle-of-the-road Democrats.
And Mark, who has done more to ease tensions between the races in America, Al Sharpton or Barack Obama? It can be the case can be made that Al Sharpton has done a lot to exacerbate the tensions, not to ease the tensions.
I mean, Obama represents a new
tensions
generation of black leadership.
Without
ahead,
question.
Mark.
The question is, though, at what cost is he getting this mainstream acceptance? Yes, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson raised tensions, but some of those tensions are necessary given the state of American politics. And many black leaders, particularly civil rights era leaders, worry that Barack Obama's commitment to mainstream America and becoming this acceptable candidate is at the expense of those critical tensions that need to be expressed.
Mark, thank you. This is obviously at the heart of the conversation. We're going to have a lot about Barack Obama. Marc Lamont Hill, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And coming up next, a 12-year-old girl who was brutally attacked by some of her own classmates.